Hello, everybody. Lori Swanson here, CEO of InspiHER Tech, founder of Career Alchemy Academy, a community of women in tech and product that come together uh, in support of their careers, helping find confidence and clarity so that they can create careers and lives they love, making impact in the world. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. And today, per usual, I'm here a day later than normal, actually, but wanting to talk to you about something that I'd already written about in my blog this week. That's generally how it goes, and you can always find the blog um, if you follow this QR code over my shoulder. That will take you to the Career Alchemy page to learn more about Career Alchemy and becoming a member. But even from there, you can get to the homepage. And if you go into resources, you can sign up for my career blog. Oh, that's not true. If you go into resources, you can look at our different blogs, career blogs that have been out there. And if you go to the bottom of the page, you can sign up. And I think even in the Career Alchemy page, you can sign up for and get inspirations in your inbox every week. And there's a reason I'm telling you that up top, because in a second, as I get into the topic today, I'm going to point you back to a blog. So the what I wanted to talk about today, I have a question. What if the most productive thing you can do at work today is walk away from your desk? So how this all came about is I have Thursday, today is my self-imposed deadline for when I want to have the blog basically completed. I usually spend time several days ahead of Thursday, coming up with ideas and then landing on the idea that I want to write about and then starting to write about it. Sometimes it requires a little research. Sometimes I've got to go back into other blogs and try to find a certain blog that I want to link to. I mean, there's stuff happening, right? But usually by Thursday, I want to have the gist of everything done so I can sleep on it one more time and then send it over to my marketing person Friday, so then they can do everything they need to do before the weekend, so it comes out for all of you at 3 o'clock Central Time every Monday. And so again, it is self-imposed. That doesn't mean I can't flex, but I really like the routine and the rhythm of what I have as far as how I write something. And the several days ahead of time, actually, as soon as I kind of put last week's blog in the can, as they say, I've already got my my subconscious and an awareness of what am I going to write about next. Occasionally I'll have 3 or 4 that I get done in a week, but often I'm week to week on this, and that works for me. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. And I've come to really trust that process. But I'm already working on it, right? And coming up with ideas and disqualifying ideas and you know up and then finally at some point being like, okay, this is the idea, this is what I'm going to write about, and then I'll write about it over a couple of days, and again, my self-imposed deadline of Thursday, I will complete it, almost 100%, except for one more sleep on it, because I really like the sleep on it strategy. So it works really, really well when through this process of coming up with ideas and eliminating ideas, you find one to land on. That just was not happening. Last Thursday, I had bupkis, nada. Nothing, zero. I just was there, I'd had some ideas, but none of them. And I do really trust, like, there's something that happens to me. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to talk about. That's the one that perks my curiosity. And so I, as I was realizing, I was kind of in a bit of a quandary with no inspiration, and really with the loss of inspiration, I also lost motivation. I was like, oh my God, what, can I just pull out an old blog? And of course I could, but that isn't really what I want to do. And so I do that on occasion, but I usually save it for vacations, which actually is happening next week. So there will not be a LinkedIn Live next week, FYI. But I I like to save, like, the best of the past sorts of blogs for when I'm going to be out of town so that I don't have to write while I'm on vacation because I'm vacationing. And so this point though, no inspiration, no motivation, and I realized I was like, I know this happens to you all out there, in corporate America, founders of business, I work with women in tech and product, and lots of productivity, lots of things clicking, and then there's a day when you're creating something for a presentation and you're like, I got nothing for this, you know? And so I thought to myself, well, this isn't the first time I've been in this position. And what have I done that worked in the past that I could share with you all? And that's the what I call 5 steps, one mini vacation, and a meeting with my spiritual board of advisors. So I want to give you the 5 steps. So first of all, I think, and this is step point 5. It wasn't really in the original 5 steps, but there needs to be a recognition that that you are lacking inspiration and motivation, how that feels in your body, so you can recognize it very quickly and then shift into following these 5 steps, which are super simple, by the way, which I love so much. So step number 1 is that I got up and I just walked away from the desk. I was tired of staring at the screen. I was tired of sitting in that chair, actually. So change of environment for sure. That always helps. That was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was set up a new environment, a place where I could take a mini vacation. And I've talked about mini vacations before, and I've talked about Linda, who used to work for me, and she came up with the term mini vacation, and it just was like, I use it for so many things, but she used it because we had an old server that we had not quite, it was, at the end of the life, and we had purchased a new server, but we hadn't transferred like what needs to happen to replace the server hadn't happened yet. And so, yeah, you'd go for a file, and sometimes the little thing spinning on the screen would take a while, and I'd see her sit back, in her chair and be like, I'm on a mini vacation. And I just love that. And so I started to incorporate this idea of taking mini vacations in all sorts of things, and I've written about them before. In this particular case, when I was had something I wanted to get done, really needed to get done, and was lacking inspiration and motivation, I changed my environment and created a mini vacation environment, which for me, this particular time was because the weather was so nice here in Chicago. We're in summer, right? I went outside in my back patio and I set up my chaise lounge, got out my beach towel, had my water, and I just laid down and got and got into mini vacation mode. And I actually took a picture of me on this mini vacation, or a short video, and it's in a link in this blog titled, what is this blog titled? What is the most important productive thing you can do? What if the most productive thing you can do is to walk away from your desk? So if you go out to my website, like I said, and go into resources, find career blog, and look for the blog titled, what is the most productive thing what if the most productive thing you could do today is walk away from your desk? And right towards the top, actually in step 2 of the 5 steps, one mini vacation and a meeting with my spiritual board of advisors, in step 2, there's a link to me on my little mini vacation. In case you are at all interested in seeing me on my back patio, it's like, 20 seconds probably, but there you go. So now, walked away from this environment, created my mini vacation environment, and now step 3 is just getting quiet. So starting to notice the new environment, what was happening around me, slowing down my breath. I'm feeling the warmth of the sun on my face, noticing the beautiful flowers. You'll see those in the link to the video. Um, the birds that were flying over the head, the beautiful sky, and just really becoming present with this new environment by quieting my breath, slowing my breath down, quieting my nervous system, and tuning in. And that also another thing that I did at this point that I don't think I wrote about actually in the blog, but this was when I was beginning to intentionally ask for help, support, guidance from my spiritual board of advisors, my SBOA, as I call them, my spiritual board of advisors, which is made up of just a whole slew of people in my imagination. And I think in higher consciousness, my chief marketing officer, my chief operations officer, my chief finance officer, all these normal board of advisors you might find, but also my chief creativity officer, my chief inspiration officer, my chief vision officer, my, chief angel, just, my chief writer, staff writer, my, my chief, support team, like all of those things, that's kind of operations, I guess, but you know what I mean. And so in step 3, as I'm getting quiet, the reason I'm getting quiet and starting to notice my surroundings a little bit more was that I wanted to invite in my spiritual board of advisors. And so in that process, one of the things that I do is I literally just ask for support in raising my vibration, my energetic vibration, into a higher consciousness where I can have like I think just clear communication with my SBOA. So got quiet, so step 3 was really getting quiet, so sort of settling in, inviting in my spiritual, board of advisors by raising my energy. And then in step 4, really just doing nothing except noticing the warmth of the sun on my face a little more and just this mini vacation that I was on. And then in step 4, as I was doing nothing, but noticing my environment and also tuning into my inner voice so that I could hear what my spiritual board of advisors had to offer. And it was in this period when I heard, how that, not out loud, but sort of came to me was the sentence, you're not there, or 2 sentences maybe, you're not the only one that feels uninspired about work they need to get done. Maybe write about that. And I was like, oh, okay, let me write about the process I take when I'm feeling stuck and up against a wall of some sort and not inspired and not motivated, which of course is what I'm writing about in this blog. And so step 5 is to actually hear the wisdom and guidance and then take action on it. So I pulled out my phone and I started talking in my phone about this, and eventually turned into this blog. And I did get it done on Thursday on my self-imposed deadline. And I got it over, I slept on it and got it over on Friday to my marketing person. And we got it out there and it was delivered on time on Monday. And I think because a mini vacation is not a meditative state, I just want to sort of distinguish between, like if I was in a meditative state, I do get insights and guidance and spiritual downloads during those times. But I stay in the meditative state versus taking myself out of it quickly. There's something about the quieter, longer state of, the longer state of quiet, that when you're meditating, that even goes beyond just hearing spiritual guidance. In my experience, it actually is a real connection to wider consciousness. And so when I'm deciding to meditate, I'm in it for a little bit longer haul, sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes 60 minutes. Sometimes I doze off and wake up, which I think is totally fine. Because even during that, it's like, I get a lot of images in my brain as I'm falling asleep, as I'm waking up. And I think the meditative state, one of the reasons that lots of people fall asleep is because they want to, meaning your spiritual board of advisors, is pulling you into a place where you can receive those images between falling asleep and when you're coming back out of sleep. So I know there's some sleep state that you're in at that point, but I don't know enough about. I mean, I don't have the terms, but you can read about it. And if you are a meditator, you know what I'm talking about. But a mini vacation is a little different. I mean, it is deliberately meant to be there to kind of get you out of your current environment and into this mini vacation environment so you can slow down, get quiet, ask for support, raise your energetic vibration, whether you feel anything or not. I just do it anyways. Sometimes I think I do, sometimes I'm not sure, but I just think it's part of my practice. And then listening to that inner voice, which is how your SBOA communicates with you, either images on your, for me, like images kind of behind my eyelids. I do think there's something about this third eye thing, like something like that, but also sometimes it's an actual sentence like I got that, it's kind of ethereal. So, I moved out of one environment, created my mini vacation environment, got quiet and asked for my spiritual board of advisors, kind of like I'm walking into the boardroom. I'm like, here I am, I need help. And then, um, and then listening to what they might offer me and then taking action on what they offer me. So those are the 5 steps. And I think the interesting thing about it was that I wasn't suddenly motivated necessarily. And it wasn't like the inspiration or even the motivation showed up because I was trying harder. And that's what I love about what I'm talking about today is this is such a, like, who doesn't want to take a mini vacation? It's so fun. It's like, you know, no one really needs to talk you into it. You're feeling, like I said at the beginning, like you're noticing that you're feeling stuck, you're feeling maybe confused, afraid even, like, am I going to get this done? I'm not going to get this done. You're noticing some of those limiting thoughts come in. Once you notice that, be like, oh, I know the solution to this. I need to take myself on a mini vacation. I need to connect with my spiritual board of advisors and I need to listen to their guidance to get me unstuck. And then I can take action. I'm not trying harder now. I'm taking action that is much more of, peaceful, easy action. And it was. I mean, it just sort of, the blog just kind of flowed out of me. I was done very quickly. And and I think that's the point, right? Is that this doesn't have to be hard. Our careers don't have to be hard. Our work doesn't have to be hard. And mini vacations are a requirement. That's what I have to say about that. So that's it for today. I am on a multiple mini vacations next week, going out of town with my husband and joining up with my daughter and her boyfriend, and doing some fun things. And so right now, I just don't think I will have a blog. I'm already working on that. But I don't think I'll go live on LinkedIn, but I could because, this where I am, like I have access. I have access to all of the things, so I can come live here. But right now I'm just planning on vacating, and you'll see me again the last week in July, and then starting in August, I am moving the time for the LinkedIn Lives. From normally we were doing Wednesdays 1 o'clock Central Time, we will now be doing Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Central Time, for a lot of different reasons. And I'm looking forward to the new time. So put that in your book. I think it's August 5th is that first Wednesday. That will be the first one. at a new time. And, tell all your friends, love to see you arrive live. And if not that, you'll listen to the recording and that won't be so different for you because it will still come out on Wednesdays, just a little bit earlier in the day. So that's it. If you're packing for a real vacation or light packing for a mini vacation, enjoy every minute of it. Thank you so much for being here, listening. Peace to you all, and happy vacationing.